I think the idea of a common value is necessary in order to respond to new emerging situations. For example, when the pandemic comes, if we do not have common values, there are many governments that thought, oh, I have to sacrifice privacy in order to do contact tracing or public health. Or when disinformation problem begins in social media, there's many governments thinking, oh, we have to sacrifice a little bit of free speech in order to counter this mental health hazard. That is disinformation, to protect democracy and so on. But once we have the common values formed by the entire society, often the innovation that comes from the people closest to the field, to the pain, actually solves the dilemma by innovating into something that doesn't sacrifice one value over another, but is a kind of innovation that takes care of both sides while creating something new. And because this is everyone's business with everyone's help, that's why we call it social innovation. So my personal contribution are two. The first is to make more pro-social public spaces, both offline and online, for those good enough consensus common values to form. That's the first one. The second, once we identify some common values and when a local scale small innovation appears, then my role is to amplify it to countrywide. That's my other role. So for our homeless population of around 3,000 registered in Taiwan, a country of 23 or so million people, I think there are two main things that we are doing to help. The first is to delabel these people, right? So instead of calling them the homeless or so on, as I mentioned, there are many charities that flips this around and say that they are the street guides, for example, for the people who want to get to know more about the street. And when we hand out the stimulus vouchers or reimbursements or things like that, we make sure that they follow exactly the same way as the other parts of the citizen or population, and their issuance of such stimulus budget and so on is done in a way that maximizes their privacy, in the sense that they either write something like a postcard and just put it to the PO box without having to queue in line, which is actually additional trouble, or they can also, for example, if they have a bank account, receive directly into the bank account. But even if they don't have a bank account, we make sure that this entire application process can take place through mail instead of through the face-to-face queuing mechanisms and so on. So be more considerate and inclusive in designing the services that they use, I think is very important to kind of delabel them. That is one of the most important things. And the other thing I think is also important is to build empathy, to make sure that the entire society, including the students, but also really everyone, to understand about their situations, to basically be in their shoes, so to speak, and to experience the kind of life that they have. And so once these sympathies, empathies are made, then we can design more inclusive spaces. For example, around the main stations, train stations, and so on, there could be sufficient amount of room instead of causing conflict between the homeless people and the passengers and so on.